$200 million. That's what Jim Carrey wanted from Will Smith. But his disgust with Hollywood's spineless culture began long before that slap. The standing ovation for violence only confirmed what he'd learned decades earlier, starting with a brutal encounter with Tommy Lee Jones that shattered his trust in the industry. Now, at 63, Jim Carrey is finally breaking his silence. He's naming the 6 actors he truly hated, the ones who crossed the line, exposed Hollywood's hypocrisy, and left him with wounds he never forgot. Who are they? And what did they do that pushed Carrey to this point? Let's uncover the truth. Number 1. Will Smith. While the world was stunned by Will Smith's Oscar slap in 2022, Jim Carrey wasn't. He had watched Smith's carefully polished family man image for years and believed he could see through it to a more entitled personality beneath. So when Smith struck Chris Rock, Carrey saw more than violence. He saw the collapse of an image Hollywood had protected for decades. What truly enraged him wasn't the slap. It was what happened afterward. Just 53 minutes later, Smith received a standing ovation. To Carrey, that moment exposed Hollywood's moral emptiness. If you're powerful enough, you can assault someone on live TV and still be celebrated. Carrey had endured years of public jokes about his mental health, relationships, and career without ever resorting to violence. Watching Smith walk away unquestioned left him furious. The Academy claimed it didn't condone violence, but its actions said otherwise. He didn't hold back. "I'd have sued Will for $200 million, Carrey said. That video is going to be there forever. To him, the issue wasn't revenge. It was accountability. Carrey believed Smith represented everything he disliked about Hollywood's performative morality, a star who built a wholesome image, then justified the slap as an act of love. Carrey dismissed that instantly. You do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody because they said words. Even so, he acknowledged Smith's inner turmoil. Will has something going on inside him that's frustrated. The backlash against Carrey came quickly. Critics resurfaced a 1997 MTV moment to label him a hypocrite, a familiar Hollywood tactic, he believed, meant to silence anyone who dared speak uncomfortable truths. In the end, Carrey saw the slap, the applause, and the backlash as proof of one thing. Hollywood protects its own, until someone points out what it really is. Number 2. Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones became the second name on Carrey's list, and for many people, it was the most shocking. Carrey had walked onto the Batman Forever set fresh off 3 blockbuster hits, excited to work with an Oscar-winning actor he'd admired for years. Jones represented the kind of dramatic, respected career Carrey thought he wanted someday. But that admiration dissolved quickly. Although both men were being paid $7 million, Jones, still glowing from his Oscar win for The Fugitive, made it clear he saw himself on a much higher tier than the comedian in the green suit. Jones had only taken the role after his son begged him to. He reportedly told producer Peter McGregor Scott he didn't get it and treated the film like embarrassing, lowbrow work from the start. But things became far worse when he met Carrey. The turning point came during a restaurant encounter in Burbank. After a long day in his Riddler costume, Carrey spotted Jones dining and approached him cheerfully, only to watch the blood drain from Jones's face. Jones stood up shaking, gave Carrey a stiff, forced hug, and whispered, "I hate you. I really don't like you." Carrey later learned that Jones had spent weeks complaining about him to director Joel Schumacher. Crew members said Jones found Carrey unprofessional for improvising lines and disrespectful for jokes between takes. For Jones, this wasn't a $100 million playground. It was supposed to be serious acting. The resentment peaked when their first shared scene approached. That same weekend, Carrey's Dumb and Dumber dominated the box office. While Jones's passion project, Cobb, collapsed financially, the timing only deepened Jones's humiliation. When Carrey tried to sit with him again, Jones snapped, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery." It wasn't just an insult. It was a rejection of Carrey's entire style of comedy. Schumacher later defended Carrey, saying, "Jim Carrey was a gentleman. Tommy Lee was threatened by him." Jones even demanded his dressing room be moved away from Carrey's and refused to rehearse with him. Norm Macdonald summed it up best. Jones couldn't stand not being the center of attention anymore. For Carrey, the experience was eye-opening. It was his first real encounter with Hollywood's elitism. The idea that comedy was inferior and that some actors believed themselves above others, that lesson would make the industry's later hypocrisy, especially during the Will Smith scandal, even harder for him to ignore. Number 3. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf exposed a different, darker side of Hollywood. A younger generation of actors who seemed to believe fame gave them the right to steal and attack without consequences. On December 16, 2013, Ghost World creator Daniel Clowes received a message alerting him that LaBeouf had released a short film, howardcantor.com. Within hours, someone recognized it as a word-for-word copy of Close's 2007 comic Justin M. Damiano. LaBeouf hadn't even bothered to change character names. The film had premiered at Cannes a year earlier, and no one noticed the theft. The plagiarism didn't stop there. LaBeouf's comics contained stolen lines from Charles Bukowski and Benoit Dutertre, and his apology to Alec Baldwin lifted text straight from a 2009 Esquire article. Even his online apologies were plagiarized from Yahoo Answers posts. Under pressure, LaBeouf tweeted on January 10, 2014, "I am retiring from all public life." But Jim Carrey wasn't ready to let him disappear quietly. At the Golden Globes 2 days later, Carrey delivered a perfectly aimed jab while presenting an award. "Dying is easy. Comedy is hard. I believe it was Shia LaBeouf who said that, so young, so wise." The audience erupted. LaBeouf, watching from home, realized he'd just been publicly humbled by one of comedy's biggest names. Instead of apologizing, he tried to sound philosophical, tweeting, "If you explain Jim Carrey, you've killed him. That way, he's immortal." Then he crossed a line that turned Carrey from critic to enemy. LaBeouf posted a video featuring Jim Carrey's daughter's band and added a cruel caption, "At least I don't get arrested for indecency on major LA highways or abandon love children." The attack wasn't just baseless, it wasn't even original. He had recycled old, debunked tabloid rumors and repurposed Rupert Murdoch's 2012 tweets aimed at Hugh Grant. Within 30 minutes, LaBeouf panicked and tweeted an apology. "I accept that regret tweet. Apologies to both parents," followed by his dramatic retreat. "I am not famous anymore." But one troubling detail surfaced. At the time of his outburst, LaBeouf was following only one person on Twitter, Jane Carrey. The moment he was exposed, he quietly unfollowed her. To Jim Carrey, the behavior felt disturbingly close to obsession. In the end, LaBeouf became Carrey's symbol of everything wrong with modern celebrity culture: entitlement, recklessness, and the belief that fame erased accountability. But Carrey's next clash would show him something even worse: how Hollywood's older, more powerful stars used silence and reputation to protect themselves. Number 4. The Kardashians. Will Smith's Oscar scandal showed Jim Carrey how far Hollywood would go to protect its stars, even when they crossed moral lines. But if individual actors revealed pieces of the industry's corruption, the Kardashian empire represented everything Carrey despised about modern celebrity culture: fame without substance, attention without achievement, and the celebration of meaninglessness. In 2017, at a Harper's Bazaar event honoring icons, Carrey delivered one of his harshest critiques. When asked why he was there, he didn't hide his disgust. "They say they're celebrating icons," he said. "Boy, that's the lowest aim we could come up with, icons? Do you believe in icons?" The idea of worshiping someone simply for being famous made him visibly sick. To Carrey, the Kardashian-style fame machine embodied the industry's most toxic values: personality elevated above substance, branding above talent. "I don't believe in icons," he said. "I believe peace lies beyond personality, beyond the red S you wear on your chest that makes bullets bounce off." The red S wasn't random. It was his way of calling out celebrities who behaved like superheroes, acting as though fame granted them special protection or moral authority. The Kardashians had perfected this illusion. They turned their everyday lives into global obsessions through marketing alone. In a 2018 Vanity Fair interview celebrating The Truman Show's anniversary, Carrey attacked what they symbolized. "The phenomenon of the Kardashians. I don't think it's healthy. There's so much onus on being famous at any cost." He went even further. "None of this is real. We don't matter." To Carrey, the Kardashian empire wasn't just annoying. It was the real-world version of The Truman Show gone wrong. Instead of one man unknowingly trapped in a constructed reality, millions willingly consumed manufactured lives as entertainment. The Kardashians had turned Truman's nightmare into America's dream number 5. Jenny McCarthy. The relationship between Jim Carrey and Jenny McCarthy began in December 2005, soon after McCarthy's divorce from John Asher, but friends later claimed that McCarthy had intentionally pursued Carrey, not just romantically, but as a powerful ally who could support her fight against the medical establishment. When Carrey announced their split on Twitter in April 2010, his calm tone hid years of frustration. What had started as a romance slowly became something far more complicated, as love turned into a tool for activism. The manipulation wasn't obvious at first. McCarthy arranged family time around autism events, making sure Carrey bonded with her son while also surrounding him with members of her anti-vaccine circle. What looked like casual gatherings often turned out to be generation rescue meetings disguised as social visits. Gradually, Carrey went from an apolitical comedian to a full anti-vaccine advocate. McCarthy spent months guiding him through her world, introducing him to controversial doctors, talking about autism recovery, and insisting his fame gave him a moral duty to speak out. By 2008, Carrey was deeply involved. He spoke at the Green Our Vaccines rally in Washington, D.C., funded McCarthy's autism school, donated millions to Generation Rescue, and used his Twitter platform to spread vaccine skepticism. But there were consequences. Carrey's new activism created distance between him and Hollywood, damaged personal friendships, and put him under fire from doctors and scientists who considered him a danger to public health. McCarthy's expectations grew heavier. She wanted him at every autism event, pushing every initiative, defending every controversial position. When he hesitated, she used their relationship and his connection with her son against him. Even their private life became entangled with her mission. Romantic trips were scheduled around autism conferences, and documentary crews were invited into their home, turning intimate moments into promotional footage. After the breakup, McCarthy told Oprah simply, "It wasn't fun anymore." But insiders pointed to a different truth. Carrey had begun questioning how extreme her stance had become, and she didn't want to lose her most powerful supporter. That same week, McCarthy abruptly shut down her autism school, citing different visions with her partner. Behind the scenes, Carrey had considered buying out the partner and funding the school himself, but ultimately chose to step away from both the project and the relationship. For Carrey, McCarthy came to represent the dark intersection of love and manipulation, how personal relationships could be weaponized for public agendas, and how affection could quietly turn into pressure. This experience became a turning point for him, shaping his understanding of Hollywood's deeper, more toxic systems, and completing a painful lesson about the hidden costs of fame, influence, and trust. Number 6. Mark Wahlberg. Carrey's final major conflict didn't come from a reckless young actor. It came from a seasoned Hollywood veteran whose words carried real weight. The tension between Jim Carrey and Mark Wahlberg began during one of Hollywood's most heated medical debates. While most celebrities avoided the vaccine conversation entirely, Carrey had become one of the most visible anti-vaccine voices because of his relationship with Jenny McCarthy, who believed her son's autism was caused by vaccines. Carrey echoed her concerns, arguing that vaccines contained dangerous chemicals like mercury, and thimerosal. Wahlberg didn't hold back. In a 2009 interview, when asked about celebrities promoting medical theories, he said bluntly, "People should shut up and just act." He didn't name Carrey, but everyone knew who he meant. To Wahlberg, Carrey's activism was irresponsible, an example of celebrities assuming their fame made them experts. He believed actors should stick to safe, non-controversial causes that wouldn't threaten their careers. Carrey saw it very differently. To him, Wahlberg's comment wasn't wisdom, it was cowardice. Hollywood expected actors to speak up about politics, charities, and global issues, yet suddenly demanded silence when the topic became risky. The hypocrisy infuriated him. Wahlberg's own past included violent incidents and hate crime charges, making his call for obedience sting even more. The same man who built a career on rebellion was now telling others to stay quiet. To Carrey, Wahlberg represented Hollywood's unspoken rule book: protect your image, avoid controversy, and never jeopardize your brand. Wahlberg became the face of Hollywood's calculated silence, the veteran star who had benefited from forgiveness and second chances, yet demanded conformity from anyone willing to take a moral risk. This clash taught Carrey one more painful lesson. In Hollywood, morality was a weapon, used not to guide behavior, but to silence anyone who stepped outside the lines, and that's the wrap-up for this video. But what do you think? Which of these 6 conflicts shocked you the most? And do you believe Jim Carrey was justified in calling these actors out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dive stories just like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more content from us. See you next time.